my gosh, this MSNBC reporter, she went out and she was kind of stunned by this. Now, I say she's stunned, but at the same time, I almost think that there was a bit of an agenda going on here because there's this shame factor. Like if you're not voting for Kamala and you're a woman and you're not voting for Kamala, oh my gosh, like that's horrible. You're not sticking up for women. If you're a minority and you're not voting for Kamala, oh, you're like really, 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 really in trouble. So this MSNBC reporter went out and she's making the rounds and doing what we call MOS, man on street, except these are ladies on the street, talking to some minority women about who they're going to vote for. And the answer is not what it's supposed to be. I say supposed to be in quotations. Let's take a listen.
What are your feelings, and let me start with the women here, about Kamala Harris?
She's a woman of color. I'm not putting her down because of that, and I'm not putting her down because she's a woman. I'm not a feminist, so I'm sorry. But at the end of the day, I don't think that she has the personality. I don't think that she has what it takes to go up against Putin and go up against these other presidents that are built for this. I don't want to be scared because my president is scared. I want my president to feel secure and manly and about it.
We brought up gender, right? Like, do you think it matters that she's a woman and people aren't comfortable having a woman in a top leadership role?
No, I don't think that, because most men, they love their mothers. They love their wives. So as a woman, most men, they respect the woman, but she just don't have the qualification or the education to really run America because she don't have the experience. She don't understand our struggles. And for me to believe you for another 4 years, you're crazy.
Right.
Like, you're crazy. You're saying the same thing that you said 4 years ago.
So the fact that she's the vice president,
that's
to
just
you
the
is
bottom line.
You're like, you've been here, you've had a chance.
Yes.
Well, for me, the very first time I ever heard the name Kamala Harris, it was in association to locking up parents for truancy. That was the first time I ever heard of her name. And I really didn't understand how this person claims to be a black woman, but yet she's locking up black women and black men and separating families.
This is the thing that is, Trump talks about this a lot. He says, you know, Kamala Harris became black when it was convenient.
Right.
Yeah.
Can you talk to me about, do you agree with him on that? Do you feel like she's wearing her blackness?
Absolutely. She's sworn into when she sworn to the Senate, it was as the first Indian American.
Thank you.
Which is, it's fine. We don't care.
We all know she's not black. Let's understand that. We are all clear of that. But my point of view is, I told you earlier, she's already been there. She's in office right now.
Okay, so this is a point of view. Group of black women who are not going to vote for Kamala Harris. And there's a few things going on there. Let me start with the most obvious one, which is that the reason they don't want to vote for her is because it's the economy, stupid, to go back to James Carville, right? I mean, you're looking at massive inflation. Wages haven't kept up with inflation. Nobody likes this, okay? You're paying so much more for everything, okay? That's just the reality. It's absolutely appalling. I mean, I'm just like, you gotta be kidding me. Like, prices are through the roof. So that is a huge problem. And you know what? That's all on Kamala. I'm telling you, it's all on Kamala. You know why? She was all part of that Inflation Reduction Act. What did that do? That printed trillions of dollars more into the economy at a time we really didn't need it. We were starting to recover. So what did that do? It actually just led to lots of dollars chasing very few goods. That's the inflation we got. Thank you very much, Kamala Harris and Joe Biden. Okay, so she's responsible for that. Few other things going on. They're like, yeah, like she doesn't kind of gel with me. They don't buy that she understands their experience. Think about that. They think the white guy who grew up with a silver spoon in his mouth, Donald Trump, understands their experience better, or has more empathy for their experience. So that's what's so shocking to these reporters. I mean, how can this be? How can this be? It's shocking to Kamala and her team, and I'll tell you how it could be. Because he actually does care. Like, he's actually, he's like trying to do something about it. And he does a better job at relating to your everyday average American, whether, it's a black woman, whether it's a Teamsters union member or whether it's anybody else. I think that he just does a better job relating to the working class. And so this is going to be a huge problem. But, you had me at economy. I think they'd forgive her a lot of things Maybe they don't like her. But listen, if everybody was flush with cash, it wouldn't matter. So MSNBC wants you to think this is all sexism, it's just women not liking women, it's men not liking a woman, and so that's what it's really about. And so they brought this up with Kamala. She tried to diffuse, but you can read between the lines. Here we go.
Let me ask you about something that you said when you were running for president the last time around, back in 2019. At the time, you said that the elephant in the room was whether the country was ready for a woman and a woman of color to be president. So let me ask you, as you sit here today, do you think the country is ready now for a woman and a woman of color to be president?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I am saying that in terms of every walk of life of our country. I think part of what is important in this election is really not only turning the page, but closing the page and the chapter on an era that suggests that Americans are divided. What I know from personal experience, from lived experience, and from my travels, himself has personal grievances. And not about the American people, not about how are you going to help families, how are you going to help small businesses, how are you going to strengthen our economy. These are the things I'm focused on. I'm focused on investing in the new industries on which America should lead and be a global leader.
I ask because to implement the agenda that you want to implement, you have to win first. You have to win the White House. And right now there is a big gender gap in this race. Fewer men support you right now than they did President Biden. Some of your allies have suggested there's sexism at play. I wonder, do you think there is sexism at play here?
Let me just tell you something. You've come to my events, and you will see there are men and women at those events, whether it be small events or events with 10,000 people. So the experience that I am having is one in which it is clear that regardless of someone's gender, they want to know that their president has a plan to lower cost, that their president has a plan to secure America in the context of our position around the world. They want a president of the United States who honors our military, who understands the importance of America's leadership around international rules and norms. And that is regardless of gender.
So
and that is how I will lead.
Do you not see sexism as a factor in this race at all?
I don't think of it that way. My challenge is the challenge of making sure I can talk with and listen to as many voters as possible and earn their vote. And I will never assume that anyone in our country should elect a leader based on their gender or their race. Instead, that leader needs to earn the vote based on substance and what they will do to address challenges and to inspire people to know that their aspirations and their ambitions can and will be achieved through the opportunity to do that.
Okay. It's all the same old with her, isn't it? And look, I think America has turned the page, okay? And sorry, Kamala, they've turned the page on you. They've turned the page on you because you are more of the same. And as much as you want to break away, I'm sorry, girl, you know what? You're tethered to the guy. You're his stinking vice president, okay? It's been a miserable 3.5 years. You can't get away from that. And so when you look at the polls, what do you see? Over and over and over again, she is going to bomb. And she's going to bomb even with groups that she probably shouldn't be bombing with. I mean, CNN said it well the other day.
I mean, the bottom line is this. At this particular hour, if you believe the polling, Donald Trump's going to put up the best performance with black voters since Richard Nixon back in 1960. Not 68, since 1960. That's 64 years ago. Among Hispanic voters, Donald Trump's going to put up the best performance for Republicans since 2004 and George W. Bush.
It's incredible. It's incredible. I was trying to see if I have a graphic because the Hispanic vote, that's just amazing to see. In fact, it's going to be a blowout. Absolute positive blowout. I'm trying to see, because somebody sent me this the other day, and I was just, this is my friend over at Job Creators Network. That would be Alfredo Ortiz, and he sent me this. He's like, check this out. I actually tweeted it because I was like, this is amazing. 49% of the Latino vote, according to a new USA Today Suffolk University poll, is going to Donald Trump. 49%, 38% is going to Kamala Harris. I mean, they thought they could bank on these people, right? They thought that this was a sure thing, that you would lock up women, Hispanics, blacks, you'd have all these minority groups. And what are they finding? Exactly the opposite. Thank you, Alfredo, for sending. I mean, this is amazing. Absolutely, positively amazing. And the hits just keep on coming. Just incredible to see, really and truly.